Hello crafting friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara Radzevicius and I'm Bondi Fibre Crafter. In this channel I mainly talk about quilting and knitting. They are my passion. I also take you out and about sometimes, have a look at what's going on around where I live, which is Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. It is beautiful. At the moment we have a really high tide and very big waves, and I've taken some footage and John's taken some footage yesterday of Bondi Beach, and today I took some of Clovelly. So it is I love watching the waves and the beach and everything, and I'm a weather watcher too. So that's mainly what my channel is about. I hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please like and subscribe. And I would like to thank you all. I am so grateful. I've reached 1,000 subscribers. I never thought that would happen to me, and it has, and I'm so happy about that. Thank you so much. So let's see what we've got to talk about this week. I've got some quilting to talk about, some knitting, and some progress with the birds. So that will be interesting just to have a sneak peek at. And also my YouTube friend Penny talks about what she has written about her experience in life, and I thought, you know, there's some interesting things that I'd like to write down too, and I can only write when I'm not feeling well, which is really weird. So I started to write, and I wrote about when I was young and how my cat, Kitty Levine, and my teddy bear are very similar and do the same sort of stress management. But first, let's have a look at the quilting progress. So here we go. So this morning I've got this nice little pile of black coffin shapes. I don't call them coffin shapes, but I think that's what they're generally known as. And I've just basted a nice little pile here. I did 9, I only need 8. I string basted them, and I'm doing a green medallion next. So, and I just did these ones this morning. These are the fabrics Judith gave me. So aren't they beautiful? So I just need to whip stitch these shapes here to be the bottom of the butterfly. And I'll have a green medallion, but there is quite a bit of work to do to get to the stage where it is actually a medallion. So I'm going to whip stitch these 8 together, and I'll string piece them too, so I don't have to keep cutting the thread and making knots. It's so easy. And because this is a 1-inch edge, I know I get 20 to 22 tiny whip stitches on each edge. I have counted them because I do so many. Over the years I've done so many. And yeah, even time how much time it was to make a grandmother's flower garden, a 1-inch grandmother's flower garden. I've done it all with timing and things. It's just so interesting, isn't it? Doesn't take long to do each one. I have got a really long thread. I like about a meter long thread. I know a lot of people prefer a 12-inch thread, but I've never done a 12-inch thread because it's just too short. And I don't have enough time to be making stops and starts at a 12-inch thread, so I have a 1 meter thread. So just here I'm at the end, I'll do a few back stitches just on the corner to secure it. I like it. And then I will string piece the next two to that one. So line it up, and then because I haven't got a knot or anything, I just hold this one between my last two fingers just to keep it out of the way so I don't get it all, the thread all knotted, and I just start again, do some back stitches to start with instead of a knot, and this way I can have all those pieces all done together, and then I just have to snip them when I'm finished. This morning I was busy putting in the little black triangles for the green medallion. I think it looks really nice. I'm going to add it to my board when I've ironed them because they're still got the bow in them. They're like little dishes at the moment, but all connected up and ready to fly into the quilt. The greens are beautiful. I love greens. Looking at my settings now for the butterflies, I've changed my mind, as I said before, and I've drawn it up on the graph paper, which makes it really easy. And how I do the most quilts that are English paper piece, I sort of make it up as I go along, but I get to a certain point where I know exactly the direction I want to go. And so we're doing snowflakes. And this is how it looks on the graph. I have a graph book of hexagons, which is really handy. And I've coloured in basically how I want it to go. Written a few instructions or thoughts. So I'm going to call it We're All Connected. And this is how it's going to look. My butterflies, the ones on the edge, are upside down, I know. They will be round the other way, but this is basically the quilt. This is going to be black grunge on this one. Or black, whatever. I think I've got black grunge, yes, black grunge. And I really like it. So that's the way we're going to go with this quilt. It's going to take me a fair while. I'm hoping to have it done by September. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I really do like doing English paper piecing, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting each time a medallion's done, and then filling in the gaps. So my son asked today how I was going to fill in these negative spaces, and I said with black hexagons. I am thinking about whether I should English paper piece them, but I'm thinking I will have the whole hexagon in black instead of dividing it up into little pieces, because it's not really necessary. So, and there are a fair few to do. So this is my update for my quilt, my English paper piecing quilt. So fun, isn't it? I love just looking at it. This is the beginning of the new blue and white flying geese, and while I'm sitting here, John has cut out some of the blues for me. I'm going to just draw a diagonal line on every one, so I have a straight line to sew on. So there will be, I think he cut out 100, no, not 100, 81 white rectangles, So I have 81 geese. We'll see how that goes. I think that will be enough. I did calculate a few more, as you remember, but I think 81 will do. And then we'll see about the border. I just want to see how big it will be, though. And, you know, I get to a certain point, as I've said in the hexagon quilt, I get to a point where I decide, yes, this is the way I'm going to go exactly. Before that, I just do the basic and then decide. I could keep going with the basic, but usually I tweak. So today, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to draw the diagonal line on the back of all of these ones that I've got so far. I've got my placemat near the window and going to put this little ruler there and draw a diagonal on every one. So that's a fun project. I do like doing the prep work. It's like cooking for me. I don't do much cooking, but it's like if you were a sous chef, but a quilt chef, let's say. And we're sous chefing the components before we start. And so, yeah, going to do the diagonals. It's been raining here for about a week now. It is what it is. It's cooling off at last, and I have a jumper on today. It's the 2nd of April, and yeah, loving the cooler weather. I'm going to start sewing some of the bluebirds. So this is the white part of the bird that I've got. They're all in there. And these are the blues that I've drawn on, every one of those yesterday. And I've started to piece. So I'm just going to put this piece on top like we did in the tutorial for it. And I've got 81 birds to sew. So need to get on with that. I've already got one done. I'm going to line this up carefully. I'm going to sew them in production line, so I'll sew all of them on one side, the 80, and then I'll trim them and do the other side. Just don't want that fold. Now I'll trim it. And this block is so easy and such a fun quilt to make. So I am now, well, not now, but I'm going to, in the near future, next week probably, do the whole 81 on one side at least. And then they'll be ready for the next. And I think I've got a blunt blade. So I'll change that before I get going. And I'm keeping all my little offcuts because they will make a neat little quilt. That will iron out. But it's a pretty big block. Then I'll sew them in blocks of 4. So yeah, see how we go. Now I'm going to string piece them together. So I just very carefully put the next one under the foot, and string piece. I do like production line string piecing. Knitting update. Remember I was wondering about my vest, my jumper really, but my vest. That's a house vest by Scandia, and I thought, yeah, I'll try the sleeves because I have got some of the yarn left over, but the sleeves didn't fit and it looked all wonky. So went to the frog pond, the sleeve. I'm going to keep it as a vest, I think. But yeah, oh, it was sort of really disappointing. I mean, I do fudge a lot. I'm not a really good knitter. And reading patterns is, reading some patterns is an enigma to me. But anyway, I'm sure the designer has made a fabulous pattern and people knit it and have no problems whatsoever. But yeah, no sleeves on my beautiful jumper. And I have to tell you, the yarn feels so beautiful, warm and beautiful. Issinga tweed and Issinga mohair together in this, and it makes this beautiful green. I just love it. I just wish sometimes I could knit a pattern from one of the new designers. I do love the front though, it's beautiful. Yeah, and I have started a pair of socks for April, probably the same socks that we saw me casting on for March. I don't think I need a pair of socks in March. Maybe the rib. Oh, and this is the skein. It is beautiful. Opal. Beauty Bountiful. Bounty Beautiful. Beautiful. It is lovely. Colours are lovely. Just need to get on with doing socks. I have been distracted, I've got to say, with the vest. And the beautiful new patterns that we see coming out for spring over there, but are perfect for winter here. The Southern Hemisphere is going into winter. And I live in a very mild climate, so your spring designs are perfect for winter here. And I love them. So yeah, I hope not to buy too many patterns. And yeah, I thought it was good, you know, when you could go to the shop, look at the pattern, see if you could read it, and then purchase. But buying them online can be tricky, can't it? So yeah, that's my knitting foray for this week, friends. I'd leave this part till the end, talking about Ted and Kitty. And here's my writing. And here's Ted. This teddy bear is 70 years old. I got him when I was 3 years old, and he has been a lifelong friend. He's starting to wear out. Just lying in the cupboard, he's aging. He has a knitted suit on that I think my mum might have made it. He's even got a raglan jumper. But he is my friend. And Kitty is my friend. So when I was from about 3 till 10, when I grew out of having bronchitis, I had it very regularly and I missed a lot of schooling, and sometimes I ended up in the hospital, And the hospitals back then were not like they are now. The children's ward was one room in our country town hospital, and there were other children all ages in cots. Usually there weren't very many, but I remember that I was there. And we didn't have visiting, you know, all day visiting. So my parents only saw me for 2 hours a day, and it was very stressful. And so along came my friend, and he used to come to hospital with me. And he had operations, he had a haircut, he had many things. But throughout it all, Ted was there, and I love him so much. And I can't believe he's 70 years old. Do we look the same age? I'm a bit older, but you know, I love him. And he used to croak. His croaker now has caved in. But yeah, so that's Ted. And then along came Kitty. And let's see what I've written. They are both great for stress management. Teddy's for children, or little dolls, and a cat or a dog, or, you know, any pet. For any age, really. They keep you company. Kitty keeps me company when I'm not feeling well. She stays with me all day. If I have to stay in bed, Kitty stays with me all day. She is such a trooper. And she's so lovely, you know. And if she thinks I need to get up, she will push me and meow and talk and say it's time to get up. So she is really helpful, but they are both helpful. And I thought, you know, that's a really nice childhood memory to remember. And I was so happy to get Ted, and I was so happy to get Kitty. I remember the days when I got her. I remember Ted coming. He was a Christmas present. He came in a big cellophane box, and it was under the tree for me. And I opened it up, and there he was. He was so handsome and so cuddly and so well made. And I loved him, and I still love him forever. And then Kitty came in 2014. She's now 11. And she came as a little kitten at 10 weeks old. She was her mother was semi-feral, so she was born under a boat shed on the harbour. And I was looking for a kitten for a long time. And then on the local free community ads on Facebook, there was an ad for kittens. And I asked if there was a kitten I could have. And I wanted a girl. Kitty was the only girl. She's a calico. And there she is sitting on the couch, having a sleep, I think, in the middle of the day. She's such a good cat. This is my weather report for the 2nd of April. We've had rough weather here in Sydney, Australia for a couple of days now. A lot of rain and big waves down at the beach. And so John went down, took some videos for me. I'll show you. And some of the big waves have broken the glass. Very strong glass down at the icebergs swimming centre where people swim in the middle of winter with big ice cubes in the swimming pool. And yeah, the waves are so big and strong. John said even now at low tide, the waves are 15 feet probably high, which is very high. And I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with the big earthquake off the south end of New Zealand, which happened a couple of days ago. It was like 7.5, which is a really big underwater earthquake. I think it was about 150 miles or kilometres off the coast. And apparently New Zealand is moving towards Australia at the rate of 5 millimeters a year, something like that. The rate your fingernails grow, it said. So pretty slow, but still significant. So one day, in the far distant future, New Zealand will be part of Australia again. Who would have thought? But yeah, that's my weather report for the 2nd of April. And it's interesting how weather influences us, isn't it? So have a look at the footage, and yeah, they've closed the southern end of the walkway too, which is a big part of the beach. It's the 3rd of April and we went out to have a look at the big surf at Clovelly. Clovelly is closer to the ocean, the big rocks and everything. It's just amazing. And yeah, closer than Bondi. Bondi has a boardwalk and a lot of reinforcing. But Clovelly is just spectacular, and the beach at Clovelly is like a washing machine when they get the big waves. And they just sort of funnel in there, and it's just amazing, isn't it? And the sound of the waves. So, hope you like looking at waves as much as I do. These are the big waves at Clovelly. We've had big waves for about a week. I'm thinking it's a result of the big earthquake at the end of New Zealand. They had a big earthquake under the ocean. It's just amazing, the ocean. It's just full of sand out there. can just see it just floating on the top. It's just spectacular, isn't it? John said these waves are about 15 feet high, probably more. They're hitting the pool around the side. We'll go and have a look. Yes, there's people swimming in it. There is a force behind these waves. Clovelly is sort of a funnel, so the waves get funneled right up there to the beach and all the sand gets dragged back in. That's me signing off for this week, friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Please like and subscribe if you like this content, if you haven't already, and Bye for now.